At 8:47 a.m., chaos erupted inside Courtroom 7 of the Manhattan Federal Courthouse. In a flash, a loud noise cracked through the air. Diddy shot up from the defendant's chair, pointed at the man who had just entered, and screamed with a guttural fury, "You're the real snake." Before anyone could react, he vaulted over the courtroom benches, lunging toward Jay-Z, who had just appeared, unannounced, as a surprise witness. Federal officers immediately tackled Diddy, using level 2 coercive restraints. But Jay-Z didn't flinch. He didn't even move. His eyes locked on the man who once called him brother, now reduced to a defendant in shackles. Only hours earlier, Jay-Z had released a music video titled Freak Off, whose final scene sent shockwaves through the internet, a videotape falling into a pool of blood at the feet of a masked figure, interpreted widely as a veiled attack on Diddy. No one, however, expected that the real explosion would happen not on screen, but in court. Part 1, The Door to Truth opens. It was Monday, the 27th, the 33rd hearing of the case. The skies over Manhattan were steel gray, the air thick, almost like the city sensed what was about to unfold. Early that morning, news crews assembled outside the courthouse while armored FBI vehicles rolled indiscreetly through a side gate. Rumors of a new witness had begun to circulate. Then came a name that hadn't been uttered in court until now, Jay-Z. Not as an ally. Not as a bystander. But as the one who held a video tied to the 2015 Hamptons Freak Circle event, a file the FBI had long tried to obtain, but could never access due to lack of evidence and silence from insiders. At exactly 8:07 a.m., the courthouse doors opened. Diddy entered, his dark gray suit wrinkled, collar slack, expression hollow. 3 federal officers escorted him, a measure typically reserved for unstable defendants. Though prison psychiatric evaluations remained sealed, courtroom insiders had raised mental health concerns in private sessions with the chief prosecutor. Diddy said nothing as he passed the press benches, but his left index finger tapped rhythmically on his knee, like a countdown only he understood. The courtroom filled to capacity. 2 of Jay-Z's bodyguards appeared, but Jay-Z himself was absent, fueling speculation. Then, in a moment that felt frozen in time, a sharp metallic click echoed from behind the judge's bench. Jay-Z walked in alone. No entourage. No sunglasses. Just a navy turtleneck and an unnervingly calm expression. He looked at no one. The instant Jay-Z entered, Diddy jolted upright as if struck by lightning and screamed, "You have no right to be here. I gave you your whole damn life." The courtroom fell silent. Then chaos. Diddy charged. Jay-Z stood still. And within seconds, officers subdued the outburst. Even restrained, Diddy's eyes burned into Jay-Z's with an intensity that left no doubt this was no longer a legal proceeding. It was a life-or-death confrontation between the man who harbored dark secrets and the one with the power to expose them. The hearing was immediately postponed for a 90-minute psychological evaluation. Jay-Z was taken to a secure FBI chamber with his lawyer and special prosecutor Dana Hargrove, the only person in the last 3 months who had refused all media interviews. A Justice Department source later revealed that Hargrove herself had secretly summoned Jay-Z via AC, classified intelligence channel 3 weeks earlier. During the break, the FBI made no statement. But CNN cameras captured a pivotal moment, Jay-Z handing a solid-state drive from his bag to federal forensic agents. Minutes later, the courtroom was sealed under second-tier security lockdown. But the real bombshell came not from that exchange, but from the internet. At 10:11 a.m., a leaked still from the freak-off video went viral. It showed 2 men in a room lit blood red, one resembling a stylized Diddy, the other unmistakably Jay-Z. Between them, a stack of VHS tapes. Scrawled on the table, "Don't trust her, she has the tapes." Speculation erupted instantly. Online communities pointed toward Oprah Winfrey, long rumored to be the secret archivist of the infamous freak parties from 2009 to 2017, and reportedly seen attending hush-hush gatherings hosted by Diddy in the Hamptons. At 11:24 a.m., the hearing resumed. But no one inside the courtroom, or watching from around the world, had any idea. The real detonation was still ahead. When the hearing resumed, Jay-Z didn't take the witness stand. Instead, he submitted a 28-minute audio statement. The first line sent chills down the courtroom's spine: "I am no longer loyal to the darkness." Within just 3 minutes, the quote had gone viral across social media, becoming the #1 trending phrase worldwide on X, formerly Twitter. It marked Jay-Z's first public act of defiance since the scandal broke. Diddy was brought back into court with restricted mobility, ankles shackled in soft restraints, no longer allowed to sit freely. He remained silent the rest of the session, but the fire in his eyes, and the words he screamed when Jay-Z entered, still echoed, "I kept your mouth shut for 20 years. At this point, the question wasn't who was right or wrong. It was, who holds the last piece of the truth, the tapes never meant to be seen. That night at 9:12 p.m., inside a high-security emergency room on the 14th floor of FBI headquarters in Manhattan. The last remaining printed copy of Tape 17 was resealed and placed on an oak table under a dim yellow light. Special Agent Tara Lonsdale wasn't looking at the screen. She was watching through a two-way mirror as 3 new witnesses awaited interrogation: a sound technician from Bad Boy Records, a former dancer from the 2010 tour, and most shockingly, a man listed in Harpo Studios' high-level security records. The footage was glitchy and fragmented, but the screams were clear. At least 8 celebrities' faces were visible in what appeared to be a private session. One woman was heard screaming as she was dragged from a dark room. Then, a hushed voice asked, "Where's the camera?" The audio quality was poor, but experts confirmed a voice match: Oprah Winfrey. Calm. Cold. Controlled. That moment changed the course of the investigation. Meanwhile, at the Four Seasons in Beverly Hills, press crews were blocked from entering as a confidential meeting was confirmed between lawyers representing high-profile individuals on the redacted list linked to Tape 17. According to a source, at least 8 celebrities had been advised to stay out of the public eye, including 2 Grammy-winning singers, a well-known director with Netflix ties, and one name no one dared speak aloud: Oprah Winfrey. Even more unsettling was the realization that many of the individuals seen in Tape 17 appeared to have been warned ahead of time. One scene showed a man filming uninvited guests with a phone, caught from a second camera angle not sourced by the FBI. Then at 10:04 p.m., a second copy of Tape 17 was uploaded partially to the dark web, tagged with an identifier linked to a major media company's internal archive. Though it was taken down within 19 minutes, several independent investigators extracted metadata, revealing coordinates matching an abandoned retreat site in Montana, once funded by Oprah as a rehab center for abuse victims. The tape also contained a 27-second clip, the sobbing voice of a young girl, faint southern accent, whispering, "Please don't make me go again." In Washington, the Senate Judiciary Committee convened a closed-door emergency session, demanding a full briefing from the FBI. A senior official issued a chilling statement: "If this material is authentic, we are not just dealing with a criminal case. We are facing an operation of manipulation and control at the highest levels of power, possibly spanning decades, involving hundreds of victims." Simultaneously, the National Archives launched an internal audit, uncovering a video eerily similar from 2012 that had been marked insufficient for prosecution at the time. At the New York Times, a team of veteran investigative reporters, some of whom helped expose the Harvey Weinstein scandal, began tracking down former victims linked to Diddy and the so-called elite party circuit. Several refused to speak. One was found dead. Another, a cocktail waitress from Miami in 2010, left only one message: "I'm still alive. But my soul isn't." That same night, at 2:11 a.m. in Los Angeles, a 14-second video clip was released from Diddy's holding cell by his newly assembled legal team. The footage, dimly lit by a flickering bulb, featured Diddy's heavy breathing and slow, measured words: "If you've seen Tape 17, don't think that's the end. There are deeper things. And I've never played alone." The clip ended with an encrypted audio segment, prompting experts to suggest it was a coded message to someone on the outside. Now, the key question wasn't just who appears in the unreleased footage, but rather, was Tape 17 intentionally leaked, or is it just the beginning of a system exposing itself in order to survive? The courtroom descended into chaos. The judge postponed the hearing indefinitely. Witnesses fled their seats in panic. A juror fainted. A CNN reporter shouted into their mic, "We just witnessed a punch the entire industry hoped would never happen." News of the assault spread like wildfire. Major news networks cut their regular programming and switched to continuous live coverage. MSNBC aired slow-motion security footage of Jay-Z's first punch at 120 frames per second, while Fox News labeled the incident a symbol of the decay of America's elite culture. On social media, the hashtag #JayzaltDiddy exploded, reaching the global #1 spot in less than 12 minutes. The FBI responded immediately. A special investigative unit was formed to verify the authenticity of the freak-off video. According to internal sources, the clip had been encrypted and extracted from an old hard drive seized in a 2019 raid on Diddy's home, but was never previously released. Now, as the trial neared its breaking point, more questions surged. Who had accessed the drive? Who had the right to possess it? And why was it released now? That very morning, the court received an anonymous email containing a chilling threat. "This is just the beginning. If you keep quiet, I'll release everything, 17 files, 3 terabytes of data, including payment receipts." The prosecution immediately requested a media lockdown. But it was too late. In less than 3 hours, the clip had been downloaded more than 16 million times. Even more alarming, copies had already reached international media outlets, including Al Jazeera, The Guardian, and Der Spiegel. When asked why Jay-Z had appeared in court without prior notice, an anonymous aide revealed that he had originally come to request his name be removed from the case. But the moment he saw the leaked video, everything spiraled beyond control. The source also confirmed Jay-Z had long clashed with Diddy over the recording of private parties, though he never imagined the footage would go public. Back inside the courthouse, Diddy was escorted out through a side exit under the protection of a special response team. No statements were made. His lawyer, who had once boldly claimed that Diddy is the target of a political takedown, now refused to speak to the media, offering only, "We will fully cooperate with the FBI." Just 3 hours after the courtroom assault, the FBI's Manhattan headquarters held an emergency briefing. A classified document distributed internally revealed that Freakoff was not a standalone video. It was a trimmed segment taken from a much larger archive known as Control Compilation 19, a digital folder containing 17 separate video files. Each was labeled with timestamps and participant codes. Names like SC, Sean Carter, Jay-Z, SCB, Sean Combs, Diddy, and other initials believed to belong to top-tier celebrities and executives appeared repeatedly. The clips weren't just of wild parties. According to the internal report, some contained signs of coercion, blurred boundaries of consent, and potentially criminal acts. By 4:50 p.m., CNN confirmed that the FBI had issued a search warrant for a former Diddy-owned recording studio in Atlanta, believed to be the primary storage site for raw video footage before being backed up to cloud servers and secondary drives. Investigators also began tracing alleged hush payments made to at least 9 individuals who had attended these events between 2014 and 2020. Meanwhile, Jay-Z was placed in temporary federal custody, pending investigation for assault. Whether formal charges would be filed remained up to the FBI and the Department of Justice. As for Diddy, although technically the victim of the assault, he had become the central figure in what was rapidly shifting from a civil trial to a full-scale federal criminal investigation. If the videos were verified and federal law had been broken, the consequences would escalate dramatically. Media outlets were now asking the real questions. Why was Freakoff released now? Who leaked it? Could it have been someone from within the justice system? Or was it part of an internal takedown designed to force powerful people, including Diddy, to confess? The courthouse went into total lockdown. All communication devices were seized. A digital forensics team was dispatched to audit every connected server, from court record databases to the personal storage drives of both the defense and prosecution. No one was speaking. No one was taking responsibility. But one thing was clear: the avalanche had begun. And if Freakoff was only the first breach, what comes next could be devastating. The next morning at 2:47 a.m., an FBI digital task force emerged from an abandoned Atlanta studio carrying a heavy hard drive, unmarked, wrapped in aluminum foil, and hidden behind a false wall beneath a dusty DJ booth. According to sources at the scene, the device had no internet connection, no barcode, and no standard traceability. It was a dead repository, designed purely to hide. Inside, they found a particularly disturbing file, 3rd_room_tune17.wave. The entire investigative team paused for over 6 hours to assess the contents. The audio lasted 53 minutes and 19 seconds. There was no video, only ambient sound, vintage jazz playing in the background, clinking glasses, the slam of a wooden door, bursts of laughter tangled with incoherent conversations. At minute 31, a woman's voice broke into panicked sobbing, gasping for breath. Then came a hoarse male voice, believed to be Diddy, echoing through the silence. "The cameras are rolling. If you run, this goes online tomorrow morning." That female voice has yet to be publicly identified. But FBI analysts are now cross-referencing it with complaint records filed between 2012 and 2020. Several human rights lawyers have demanded the investigation be expanded into criminal territory. Analysts concluded the clip reveals a clear pattern of premeditated manipulation, control, and threats, a systematic method of intimidation using digital evidence as leverage. Simultaneously, an internal source from the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Southern District of New York confirmed that Jay-Z has provided a sworn statement, disclosing information about multiple private parties involving elite entertainment figures. While denying direct involvement in any criminal acts, Jay-Z admitted that some individuals used their status to silence, pressure, and exploit others, and that he had remained silent too long. Jay-Z's outburst in court is now viewed as an impulsive response, not to attack Diddy, but to prevent himself from being pulled under by the collapsing structure. But his years of silence raise an even bigger question: when did he know, and why now? Diddy's representatives continue to refuse comment. They insist all new evidence be independently reviewed by third-party forensic specialists. But this stance only fuels public suspicion. If there's nothing to hide, why not face the truth openly? Major television networks have suspended all programming tied to Diddy, Jay-Z, or anyone listed in the leaked Control Compilation 19 archive. A wave of celebrities began deleting posts, locking accounts, or turning off comments entirely. Record labels like Def Jam and Sony Music released statements confirming that they are reviewing contracts with all individuals connected to the federal investigation. At a legal office in Delaware, attorneys representing at least 12 victims are preparing a class action lawsuit. A leaked draft of the complaint states that dozens of women were lured to private events under the pretense of PR work, only to be filmed without clear consent. At least 3 women claim they were threatened with death if they spoke out. The investigation has now escalated far beyond any single person. This is no longer just a lawsuit involving musicians. It's a national crisis, legal, political, and cultural. The FBI has already placed over 50 individuals on a preliminary watch list. And at the White House, a press aide refused to comment, yet did not deny that several names implicated in the case had indirect ties to campaign financiers in the last election cycle. It was only a detail, but enough to raise serious alarm. Then, at 6 p.m., a photo leaked from an internal hotel surveillance system in Miami. It showed a woman believed to be Oprah Winfrey exiting through a service door after booking a private jet to Zurich. The ticket was paid for by an account registered under a Bermuda-based nonprofit. Now, the question is being asked worldwide: why did Oprah leave the country at this exact moment? What does she know that the public does not? And could 3rd_room_2017.wave be just the tip of a much larger iceberg? The investigation has grown far beyond Diddy and Jay-Z, revealing a global web of abuse, blackmail, and manipulation. FBI data shows attempts to alter metadata from international IPs tied to hard drives containing secret footage of private parties at Diddy's mansion. Some clips have been described as unairable, documenting coercion and possibly minors. Witness Carla Jennings testified she was ordered to email women under the guise of music video castings, only to be secretly recorded. A leaked audio clip of Diddy declaring, "If I fall, they all fall with me," shocked the public. Hours later, the FBI's data systems were hit by malware, wiping key files. The DOJ has launched Project Silence, and Oprah may be implicated, with a video showing a woman resembling her issuing hand signals from behind a two-way mirror. She has since vanished from U.S. soil. The case, now dubbed Operation Mirror House, is no longer just a media scandal, it's a high-level crackdown involving elite figures from politics, media, and finance. What else is hidden behind those mirrored walls? Subscribe for updates and drop your thoughts in the comments below. Who do you think is really pulling the strings?